Hey, oh, my goodness, I'm not even there yet. Hey guys, how's it going? Sorry. That was turned over for my class yesterday. So, sorry about that. So, we're back, we're streaming. It's time, it's Rise and Grind, and the bad part is, here's the bad part. I have tea going upstairs, and so I need to go grab that. Because otherwise it's going to be disgusting. So, I'll be right back. Stay with me. I'll be right back. Okay. Da bin ich wieder. Mit meinem Tee. Ist ziemlich heiß. Naja. Mit Teeleaf. Oh. Oh, ist ganz nass. Alright. Also, machen wir da wieder. Okay, gestern ist mein Stift runtergefallen und jetzt funktioniert es nicht mehr so gut. Leider, wie gesagt, leider ist hingeflogen und tja, jetzt geht's nicht mehr. Jetzt muss man dann einen neuen kaufen. Furchtbar. Aber naja, man soll es einfach nicht down fahren lassen, oder? So eine Schande. Schon wieder hingeflogen. Keine Ahnung, wie viel so ein kostet, weil der ist von Huion. Ich weiß, die anderen kosten 100 und so weiter. Aber ich habe keine Ahnung, wie viel ein Stift von Huion kostet. Nochmal. Oh, what's up? What is up, Mark? Accidentally, I guess Twitch doesn't count viewership for people not logged in. Probably not. I was just telling everybody that I had dropped my pen yesterday, last stream, and I think I finally knocked something loose. And so now my Huion pen is acting kind of stupid. Like really super duper stupid. And so now it kind of glitches. See? I didn't see that. I didn't even do anything. I just brought it on and it instantly went to rotation even though I had it on brush. And so, but what I've just realized though is that I can actually zoom in and then it works. So yeah, I don't know what's going on. There's some type of marker going on that's jacked up, but it's the pen. Yeah, it's the pen. The pen broke. I managed to screw that up. It was bad because at first I was like, oh, you know, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. And then it was like, oh no, we're not gonna be okay. You broke us. We don't like that. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to get me a replacement. I mean, now that I just realized that I can actually, when it starts doing that, I can hit the zoom button and zoom in or out, and then it works again. I might be able to need to purchase one, which would be great. Because I don't know how much they cost. Like, I don't know how much the Huions cost. Yeah, that's my point. Like, the Wacom ones are $100, and if I mean, Huion on itself is cheaper than Wacom anyway, so I might get lucky, but you know, what are you gonna do? I've dropped this thing so many times. I'm surprised it didn't happen earlier. Let's see. Ended up getting a new Intuos 3 since my old pen was going Yankee. Yeah. I mean, like I said, mine's been with me for at least 2 years, and I've been clumsy would be nice. It's like saying that I'm clumsy would be a nice statement when it comes to these pens. Got no love. It's like, oh, did you break that? So I'm happy that it lasted this long, and it seems as though I can actually I can still get away with some stuff. So if I can, if I can work around until it's like, nah man, we done, then if, you know what I mean? It's like, if I can prolong this, then that's what we're gonna do. 3 edition was being sold on eBay for like 150, so I ended up buying a whole tablet rather than just a pen. That makes sense. I tried to learn how to spin pens using the Wacom stylus. Did not think that through. Yeah, probably not the best idea to spend with such an expensive bit of equipment. Yeah. I actually gotta send Wacom a message today because they wanted me to do something, and I just haven't been able to do it. So I'm gonna ask them if we can do something else. Because I thought I'd be good, like I thought I'd have it, but I was in no place to give them what they wanted. Really trying to work over a relationship with them so that I can get one of those new freaking Wacom Studios. If I could get that, man. Ooh. Woo. Get me one of them. It's not really a gig so much as, being representation for an artist, a father, professional, and what I really want to be able to show them is that I can be one of their streamers. Like, I don't have a lot of people coming to my channels and stuff like that, but if I can if I can get them to see the value in me, then maybe I can become someone who they sponsor, which I would switch everything over. Like, if they give me one more tablet, it's like, if they give me one more tablet, then I'm gonna switch over again, because when I got this computer, I switched over to a Huion because my wife got it for Christmas, and she's like, here you go, this one's way cheap, because we had talked about it, and I was like, man, I'd really like to check out one of those to see how they go, because they're really good, or they're really cheap, and a lot of my students are getting it, so I'd like to try it out. And I would never buy something for myself like this. Like, I'm like, no, the one I have is working just fine. And the thing is that I'd actually worn a use spot. Like I'd drawn on it so much that where I would draw would have a spot that you just, like when you went over it, it was rough. Which was hilarious, right? So it definitely needed a new one, you know, and so she got me one. And then I started getting love from Wacom, right? So they gave me a Wacom 1 because I'm a teacher, which was awesome, right? And I've been recommending the Wacom 1 ever since. And they also gave me one of the newer Cintiqs, which I was like, sweetness, right? And it's so much better than the Cintiq I had. But the problem is I was using this Huion, and I was like, great, I'll have like double screens, right? And I can draw on both. I know it takes different pens, but I can draw on both, right? Nope. The Huion and Wacom drivers do not, I repeat, do not like each other. Like, there might be a workaround, but I was like, when I tried, you know, and it was like, oh, guess what? No. I'm like, well, I've already got this Huion set up. So that's what I've been using. So, you know, can't you write off a tablet purchase and deduct? Yeah, of course it can. Let's see, buddy, I found out about this stuff the same way. So, you know, so I have a working relationship with Wacom, which is awesome. They're very nice people. But I want to get more of a professional relationship with them. And so if they're going to be like, hey, we'll sponsor you on, you know, we'll sponsor your video on our what is it called? Their blog, then it's like, all right, cool. And they really want me to use, they really want me to use Clip Studio Paint. And so if they come in, it's like, here's some new stuff, then I'll do Clip Studio Paint, you know? Like, I have it, I've never used it, I've recommended it to my students, which is funny, because I was like, yeah, if you need it, because I have used it, right? I used it at Comic-Con when I was actually demoing it for the first time. It was funny, because they're like, so, have you used Clip Studio before? I was like, no, and they got real nervous, and I was like, but this is exactly what you want, right? You want someone who knows the basic, you know, the basic outline of a digital program, who has used digital for a while, and then is coming to your program so that you can see it, right? So that people can see just how intuitive and stuff that is. And that's when my relationship with Wacom started, because they're like, oh, that's a good idea. And I think I convinced so many people to go and either get a Wacom or Clip Studio just by going, oh my goodness, this is awesome, this is great. You know, I was like, I never saw this before. And the extra one actually has like a puppet in there, so it has a 3D puppet that you can actually pose and then draw over. I was like, this is amazing. Intuos works with 2, but it doesn't work. It doesn't mess with 4. And Intuos 3 does not mix with a Cintiq Companion 1, except it does if you trick it. Yeah, Clip is great, since you can literally remap all the controls super easy. Oh, really? I didn't know that. So you can make them. So for a person like me, who's like, I've used Photoshop for so long, I can set up my hotkeys to be still Photoshop-esque. Nice. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do an Is It Worth It on Clip Studio. And the fun part is I'm gonna actually you can turn it into Photoshop, sweet. So I'm gonna actually see, because they're running a sale right now. They're running a 50% sale on their stuff. So you can get all of it, right? You can get the Pro, and you can get the Pro, and you can get the regular one. You can get the Super one. You can get the EX one that has the animation and whatnot on it, right? So you can get all of them for 50% off right now. So I'm like, look, if you guys are willing to run that kind of sale, maybe you'll be willing to do that so that I can actually get my students to use it and stuff like that. You know, especially when you're like, oh, it's $25 for the regular illustration one. I mean, that's pretty sweet. You know, $25, and it's a one-time purchase. So it's like, oh, I purchased this once. So I think that's tremendous, right? And it's just like, that is a huge step over Photoshop, where I gotta keep paying for it 1,000 times just because you wants me to. You know, like that's hurtful. There's something else that I was looking at that I saw that I needed to clean up. Oh well. So, you know what I mean? Like, I love Photoshop, I really do, but dang, why I gotta pay so much for it all the time? You know? And they don't have like the piecemeal bundle to where if I'm like, well, I only need Photoshop, Illustrator, and Animate, right? They don't have a bundle for that. Or if I was like, I just need Photoshop, Illustrator, and Dreamweaver, or Dreamweaver, Animate, and I don't know, I don't know, like, you can't go in there and really customize your deal. Like, you have to go in there and order, you know, right? You gotta, oh, that's gonna be a tough one light wise, because I should do it, the light's coming top and it should hit down here, and I think it would be more interesting if it was down there, so we're gonna do it down there. But like I said, you can't piecemeal it together, and so it's not as helpful. Like, I gotta pay a gazillion dollars to get a bunch of programs I don't want, and it's like poops on a stick, right? Like, who cares? Yeah, that's why I use Photoshop 6 and 7 and CS1. Yep. I mean, I'm running 5.5 right now. Like, that's my bread and butter, because I never knew if I was gonna lose access at school, because the previous school that I worked with was not too keen on keeping up their licensing, so we would lose it all. We just lose it all the time, and so I never really, like, I would always practice at school. I would never actually be like, all right, let me switch over myself, because I was just like, nah, I'm gonna lose access and then I'll forget how to use this old program. So, but no, now the new school I'm at, I walked in and they're like, oh yeah, we already have the license, you know, the students get access to it. All you have to do is put in your email. And I'm like, oh, like this place already. There are other vendors who strip all the BS from those programs so you can just paint. Ah, yeah. You still have the old school smudge tool? Yeah. Great for drawing buildings super quick. There's a lot. Like, I wouldn't mind learning from some people. Like, once Corona's over, I think I want to put together, like, I don't know, like, I love the idea of the, you know, the master and apprentice type deal from old school, you know, where there was a person who was considered the person in their field, right? They were the it. For whatever reason, well, they were the it because they produced really cool stuff, whether it be artists, blacksmiths, whatever, right? And so, and you would go to work for them, and then they would show you some of their stuff, you know, or they'd make, in really old times, they would actually just make you do the drawing or the painting, and then they would slap their name on it, right? But you would get experience through working with them. The good people would teach you, the bad people would just, you know, use you. But to come in and get a whole bunch of professionals to do like a workshop, you know, where they're not going, these are the basics, you know, it's like, this is how I construct the head, unless you need someone, if you need the basics, right? and it's like, oh, okay, here's the basics. But they could come in and go, here's some of the tricks, here's some of the cool stuff that I do with Illustrator, with Photoshop, or whatever, right? And they just show you all the cool stuff so that you can actually learn what some of these programs are capable of doing. Because I do a lot of stuff, right? I do a lot of stuff, and then someone comes along and is like, hey, did you know if you did this? And you're like, oh my goodness, that's freaking amazing. Like, to actually have like a small, maybe it's online convention where that's all you're doing. You're just going, this is how cool, this is what I do, you know, and then you show them something that's awesome, you know. If you get paid to get trained, right? No. Not like in a trade. The thing is, like in old school master apprentice thing, is the apprentice would come and pay the master for the master to train the apprentice, so that eventually the apprentice would go off and do their own thing. So, you know, there were artists, there were art masters that would come, or that people would go to, and it would just be like, all right, here, help me with this. This is how you make this paint. This is how you do this. This is how I do that, you know, and then eventually they would go off and do their own thing. Because, I mean, think about it. Think about if you could, right? If everyone, not everyone did it, but if you knew that that's the way it was, and you wanted to go, I don't know, train with Jim Lee, right? It's probably going to be hell of expensive, and, you know, you'd have to be of a rich family and stuff like that. But, you know, you could actually be like, oh, well, yes, I'm training with Jim Lee, or I'm training with George Lucas, or I'm training with such and such, right? Like now, I mean, now I'm a teacher, so, you know, take this one with a grain of salt. But now you're going with these teachers, right? And it's like, well, what exactly have you done, and why should I care? You know? So one of the main reasons why I try and stay in the industry as much as possible, because I want people to go, oh, well, you are working. You do know what you're doing. It's like, instead of just, hey guys, listen to me because I said so. I know it is. I know that's literally what you're trying to do. That's why I was very interested, and I was like, yes, I would love to do this, and I want to give you as much as you want out of it, right? Plus, by the way, we need to get together so we can critique some stuff if you're ready, right? Because I know you've been doing some sketches, but I don't know if you want to meet up again and be like, all right, critique my stuff. You know, let's try and move a little bit further. You let me know, man. It's unlike with the old school masters where they're just like, you're gonna do what I say. I want to make sure that you get out of it what you want. So, you let me know. Because I know that coming on every day, to stream, at least for this short amount of time, right, gives you a reason to sit there and draw, which I'm happy to do, right? But we also need to get you beyond sketching eventually. But actually, then again, you want to eventually get to production, right? Like, we're utilizing the idea of sketching and stuff to get you to a place to where you can do a production. But I still think that right now we're still trying to get you into the joy of drawing again. Which, by the way, I still can't stand how much talent you have. Because when you're just like, hey, look what I did. I'm like, yep, that's great. I wish you were doing this for the past, 10 years. Let's see. No, that's the way it is. The fastest and easiest route to gaining a skill set. You want to literally copy someone who is doing it. Yeah. But the problem is, even with YouTube, right? YouTube or Twitch or something like this, if I'm like, all right, draw this line, draw that line, draw this line, there's something to be said about being right there. That's the one thing that I do like about, like school is because even online, if I'm like, no, you're not making this line right. No, you're not making this line right. No, no, you're not making this line right. You know, it's like, no, that's not it. And then I go like this. And you're like, no, oh, okay. You know, so you have that more interaction than if I do it on YouTube and then I go, hey, we can do this, right? Let's see. Once it's habitual, I won't have to split. That is why I mentioned the screen share on Discord. Oh yeah. I mean, we can. Do you want a screen share right now? Because I don't know about, you know, I don't know if you want to be on the stream, but I do like the screen share option, which I think is great for being able to talk to people on Discord. And Discord seems to be real. Like I did Discord yesterday with my class, and I'm still trying to figure out the kinks because I haven't used it yet. But because there was such a delay, like there's Discord and then there was a delay in the video that was coming out, we're still trying to figure out how to make that. And I think it's because I turned off streaming mode. So I think that was my fault. I did have a couple of years of consistent work, but it happened because I was in the art group that got together and drew. Yeah, that's a big one. Like that, honestly, it's one of the reasons why I tried to make a studio. Like I tried to have studio every Friday because that's what's important, right? You're like, all right, we need to get together. Like there's just no way around it, you know. It's like we need to get together. Because if you don't get together, it's really easy to not do anything. Like, really easy. This is something to test later. I don't want to mess with your stream. Because I know it's up, right? But then having the stream, like if having people on the actual stream, because like I said, I did it with my students yesterday, and I think because I turned the screen, the actual screen mode off, it wasn't able to do anything. See? What if we did? So it didn't it didn't actually go through, so So yeah, it's definitely something we'll have to try later. Because I don't know if you want to be on, you know? Like, I can have it to where I can hear you, you know? But if I'm not trying to answer, like if I'm trying to answer you, and then it's like, oh wait, and they don't see you, you're not on the chat, that's when it becomes a problem. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? So you definitely have to make sure that we actually have it working so that you actually come through. Then to test later. Yeah. So, you know, I'm going to be testing it with my students, to be honest, because eventually we're going to do like critiques. You know what I mean? We're going to do a critique on that. And so if I can screen share and make it so that people can see what they're doing, then I don't mind being on stream. Honestly, it'd make it easier for me to draw. That's true. Doesn't want to get light. Hmm. There we go. Put some light in there. Because for some reason, it's like, screw you, we don't want to put any light in there, so gotta force it, I guess, for some reason. Both because you can always glance over and yell at me and I don't have to take the time to type. It's true. Very true. I'll have to try that for the next one. Like I don't want to jump in and be like, yeah, guys, we're gonna do this. I know you said it will be for next time, but so we'll try it next. We can try it tomorrow if you want. Just like, all right, I'm doing a screen share and talk to you, see if the mode will work and we can get your voice through. You know, just in case you do want to talk. So. Eyeball glows. So. Because you said you're off tomorrow too, right? That way we can test this out. You can help my school streams actually be better. What's up, buddy? Oh, really? And that's where we're at right now?
What? No.
Okay.
I'm gonna make muffins.
Ooh. Aren't you a nice person? Oh, I forgot to add highlights. Smart me. Alright, we'll put some highlights in the mask. I did not. I was like, I did not actually. It is indeed a lot of masks. There's a lot of COVID outside. I don't know how. Well, I'm sure like the mask people love COVID. I mean, don't love it, but they're definitely profiting. You know, there's a lot of people making some good money off of it. So, excuse me. So, you know, peoples. Then I gotta add some highlights. Can't believe I forgot the highlights. It's special. Let's see. Putting that highlight right next to the shadow in the middle of the blade and another along the edge, like you got it, will help sell this. But yeah. And put just a little bit. I'm not trying to overdo it, and then we'll get one at the bottom too, just kind of like a nice small one. Whoops. Oh, guess I do need to make it bigger just to catch it. Maybe just a little bit on the edge. Because we always, you know, I'm not trying to overdo it. One thing that I've realized when it comes to this is that I'm not really trying to sell the fact that I know how to do it. You know, like that's it's like if you think I don't know about the bounce light and stuff like that, but the thing is that because this is so graphic, right? We try and keep it so that more or less it just reads, right? So like this, I'm gonna tone down his eyes a little bit. So I might actually leave this up here so it looks like a lot of the light's just hitting here versus anywhere else. You know. So, you know what I mean? It's just one of those ones where it's like, one of the things that I've realized with this style is that you're allowed to get away with a lot. A lot. And eventually, we're gonna find that limit. Oh no, I know. I wasn't trying to insinuate that you were like, he doesn't know about bounce light. I was talking more of the global you. Because there are times when it's absolutely important, and then, like if I was drawing a comic and I was really trying to push the atmosphere, I think I would do that. But because this is more of just a, you know, it's just here's this character. No, eraser. You know, it's like here's this character, and that's it. Like we're not doing anything with him. He's just kind of posing. We don't need all that. I was about to say, I'm like, come on now. You gotta remember, I don't need to, because when I zoomed out, that light was so strong, and it was like, oh my goodness, it just his eyeballs are glowing. Like they're even still strong now, but before they were so much stronger. Oops. Am I drawing again? Sure am. One eraser. No, dude. Eraser. Now we can zoom in. Yeah, I think that's better. Right, in this case, we don't want his eyeballs to be glowing as much as a sword. Also, if you want them part of a lineup, you can't really do, yeah. I hate that part when working in a long project. Yeah, well, I mean, that's true. Like if, you know, if I take out this and then I put them up against a really long thing, which I really do plan on doing, is having a lineup so that you guys can see them. I think that'll be really fun. But if the bigger issue, like I'm gonna have to take all the people where the lighting's from the left, and line them up, and then all the people with the lighting on the right, and line them up, and it'll be two separate images because you can't put them all together, right? Unless it's just inks. So if I'm just doing the inks, we can put them all together, all right? So it's funny how that works. An elder. Oh, they're coming. Oh, I have an old ninja. And it's always funny because the old ninjas never wear a mask. They're just like, just come at me, bro. They never ever wear a mask. So I might actually make it so that they have a mask, but then you have that old school like Chinese kung fu theater stuff where they're like, you know, you got these huge eyebrows or the super bushy eyebrows. You know, like you either have the ones where it's like super long and it's like whoosh, or they're like, you know, they take up the majority of his head. You know, so I'm definitely gonna have an old guy for sure. It's gotta have a bow staff. I think that's something we can manage. How you doing, Freddie? You up again? So what's the word? What you working on? That's right. What? We're cheating? Deal with it. Like, we cheating? Oh, I'm on. I gotta fix it though. It's like, I gotta fix it though. But yeah, we might be cheating. But look at that. So much easier. It's one of the reasons why I do love me some Photoshop. You know, or maybe it's just I love the idea of a computer program to where I can take layers from other places and be like, I'm gonna use that, thank you. I line up my stuff. See, we can't already do that. All right, so we need to try and cut this one down. We can move the other one over. We move it over after that. All right, so now we need to come in with this. We come down. Sweet. All right, then we're going to move our guidelines to, well, just right there, I guess. Let's see. I thought you gave this character an ear imprint on the left side. No. Not this guy. Wrapping up the loft design. Oh, okay. We have those wood design things around my parents' place. Always like the aesthetic. Yeah, I mean, so the thing is, I'm doing ninjas, right? And so the fact that there's going to be an Asian influence is, I'm assuming, everyone kind of knew. It's like, oh yeah, that's gonna happen, right? So I'm trying to keep, these things here, but just, as minimal as possible, because I don't want to. I'm not trying to offend anybody, like I'm really not. So I'm also taking from a lot of different Asian cultures, and I'm gonna be blending them together, because that's kind of what I want to go for. I don't like that. We might have to fix that. Let's see. You would. I actually think that looks better. We're just gonna. I think we need to move it inward a bit. Oof. As someone whose left foot and elbow are Korean, please don't get hung up for offending people with your ninjas. Yeah, see, that's my thing, because I've been trying to be as unoffensive as possible, like I can't go too far into like taking Japanese, Chinese, or Korean names or Indian names and then just be like, ooh, let me, and like let me mash them up, because I'm not trying. I really don't want to be like, that guy. Like, I'm not trying to appropriate this. Like, I've actually sought help from people who are way more knowledgeable and in the culture than I am, going, okay, if I do this, or can I do that, would it be insensitive if I do this? Because I don't want that, Ninjas influenced me from a very young age, and I've loved every single second of it. And it's a shame that ninjas kind of fell out, like the mid '90s, and then stuff kind of just petered out, and so there are no ninjas anymore. Although they like come back, they're like, oh, here's a ninja, and everyone's like, that dude was cool, and that's it. But in the '80s and '90s, like, you had a multitude of ninja movies, right? And so I was influenced by that hellaciously early. And so it's like I want to bring that love back. Like, I loved it. And you have things like the Ninja Turtles, which, by the way, the Rise of the Ninja Turtles looks absolutely freaking amazing. So I'm going to have to find it online so I can watch it with my kids, because the animations and stuff I've seen, forget about it. So, but yeah, I'm trying to not, I don't want to be that guy. I really don't. I really don't want to offend or upset people when it comes to something like this. It's just me trying to bring back something that I loved so much as a child. And I hope that I don't, like, I'm not offending anybody. Like, I'm giving homage to, like, the ninja of the 80s, like Sho Kosugi. And so he's my main bad guy. So my main bad guy is influenced by that ninja, his persona as a ninja character. And I take elements from, like, his movies and stuff, and I'm actually trying to make it so that it's a progression, right? Because right now Sho Kosugi is an older gentleman, and I want one of the bad guys to be not necessarily as old as he is right now, but an older guy who takes elements. Like, his weapon was going to be this big long spear, and it had a whole bunch of, like, thought behind it. Like, it had was it 4 rings? So 5 families. So it had 4 rings within the blade, which represented the 4 families that he controls over. And so there was a lot of the story that went into his weapon. And then as I continued to make it more geared towards Sho Kosugi, I realized there was one, and he was posting on his stream, on his Instagram once, that he actually created this sword for a movie. And I'm like, oh man, I should use that, because that makes a lot of sense. So, it's like taking my influences and then going, yeah, let's make that happen. That's going to be really cool. I just hope, I'm not trying to get in trouble. I just don't want to get in trouble. Because at first I was going to use his last name as the last name of the bad guy, but I really ain't trying to I'm really not trying to have that happen. So I'm like, why don't we just I'm using his last name as the main bad guy's first name. So I don't know if that's going to keep me safe or not, but that's what I'm doing. Oh, we're almost there. Oh. Did I just erase it? Question, what's one racially or culturally, like, insensitive thing have you done with these guys that resulted in that kind of backlash? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But with, just seeing the climate and dealing with appropriation of just my culture, and people talking about that, and then, like Disney being lambasted for their cultural insensitivity and not bringing in consultants on some of these huge movies. Like, I'm a small fry, so nobody's really, like, looking at me, but I would like it to randomly just blow up, you know, like I do something and then it's like, oh man, this is awesome, you know, and then it blows up, or someone picks it up and then they make it blow up, and then I don't want it to come back and be like, oh, you just took everything that we were and then just profited off of it. And it's like, but I consulted people, like I'm not trying to be insensitive. So I haven't gotten any of the backlash yet, right? Even though, because I guess more people are looking at it as he likes ninjas, you know, the black bit. Most people aren't really taking a lot of, I mean, you see a lot of German culture, and the bad part is they're taking like the Oktoberfest and stuff like that, and then they're making it a mockery of what it is a big drunken fest, but the way that they do it in a lot of movies and stuff like that, or the Germans, you know, how they always portray Germans, even if it's, you know, in a comedy or something like that, eventually we always get referred back to Hitler, you know, and or that bleepity bleep is getting old, you know. And so it's just like with that, and then, you know, being black on top of that, you know, is also really bad, you know, especially, you know, you see stuff now. So there's that, but it's just the one thing that I want to make sure that I'm paying attention to what I'm doing. Like, I know that I'm doing something that does not belong to me, right? It does not belong to my culture. And so it's one of those ones where I'm like, I'm going to ask as much as I can. Like, if I did this, would that be wrong? Right? Like, I, at one point, was doing something wrong with how the things get wrapped, right? How the ghee gets wrapped. And they're like, oh, that, and I was told, they're like, that's a ceremonial funeral wrap, right? It means that person's dead. And I was like, oh, I was like, is that, you know, like, is it a problem if I do that? They're like, no, but you definitely need to know what that means, right? It's not just oh, I did this wrong, so be it. It means something to the culture that you're representing, right? And it's like, okay, you know, so it's like, okay. So, you know what I mean? So being able to do that, so I didn't want to come in and like make someone who's all about life and healing and all that, and then all of a sudden they have, you know, the rap on the wrong way, unless it was on purpose, right? You know, like if that fuels the story, then fine. But to then go, if I was like, whatever, right? Or if I took some of the design work that you see in a lot of Asian cultures, right? And then I put it in, and I took one that happened to be a religious marker, and I didn't know. And, you know, if someone told me about it, and they're like, yo, look, like that's wrong, right? Or that's offensive. Or, you know, if I was to draw everybody who was eating a rice ball, like that's it. I'm like, every Asian eats rice balls. And they're like, dude, that's insensitive, you know, which it would be, because obviously that would be a stereotype, you know. And then if it was brought to my attention and I didn't do anything about it, that's when it becomes a problem. You know, that is not insensitive. It is not to some of the people that I've spoke to. They would disagree with you. Gesundheit. Because they're just going, we don't all do that. You know, it's like, that's fair. You know, it's like, that's fair. So, and then, you know, of course, to stay away from all the horrible stereotypes from like the 70s and stuff. Like, you can't do that. Oh no. No, I'm still there. What is going on? Is my chat gone from... my chat died from YouTube's. Oh well. It's alright. I got it up. It seems to still be working, so... Let's see. Knowing the design elements you're using helps a lot with the design. Yeah, that's why, I mean, I'm always looking. I even have, like, in my planner, I got a section that I'm studying, like, okay, what does this mean? Trying to not use, like, kanjis or any of the other alphabets that are being used, and then just be like, this looks cool, right? And then I slap it on a restaurant door or something, and it says something it's not supposed to. You know, like there's a lot of people out there that are just like, this is cool, and they'll put it on there, and it's like, that's not what that means, or what you're doing is wrong, or you can't do that. But you don't strike me as the kind of person who doesn't get curious about unique design elements on characters and goes, yeah, I do. I love finding those. I was like, what is that? You know, that's really cool stuff. And I'm just trying to not, I don't want to be that guy. That's all. You know, literally just follow the curiosity earnestly. It's rewarding and fun. Okay. And auto blocks the offensive train. All right, cool. Too bad for them. Those were important though. Without those stereotypes, we don't get the normalcy within characters. True. I mean, in stereotypes, in some, they do say things. I mean, mostly the stereotypes say things about the other people, stereotyping the people. But there are certain things that are true, you know, about the cultures when we're like, hey, this, it doesn't apply to everybody. It's not necessarily, it should not encompass an entire culture or race. But, you know, as far as artists go, like, it makes it so much easier to depict someone when there are certain things that you can go, this is what a black person looks like, right? Like if you go, if you have a African American person, they generally have bigger lips, right? So if you're drawing someone and you draw them with bigger lips, you're like, all right, cool. But if you draw them like, you know, Disney did or Warner Brothers did back in the day, and you have a head, right? And then the lips are like this, and then there are two beady eyes, like that's wrong. Like that's just wrong. But to go in and be like, all right, so I normally draw people with this thin line for lips, and then you go, all right, well, African American people have thicker lips, and then you just give them thicker lips, fine, right? That aspect of a stereotype does push the character design. But you have to be aware that you can push it too far and it'll instantly become offensive. That is, there are no Asians in cinema. The first way in is to play a Yeah, no, you're right. That people get curious and then you add depth. No, you're absolutely right. My point is now, like, it's still, don't get me wrong, it's still crappy. You know, there's barely any black people in entertainment. There's even fewer, like, very, very popular Asian people in entertainment. You know, and we're all striving to get into the you know, the world to see us, right? And so, like, yes, sometimes you do have to just come in like, oh, you're a black guy, you're a pretty good actor, you'll be the bad guy. It's like, why do I have to be the bad guy? Or you're gonna be a gangster, you're gonna be a thug. And it's like, but why? And so, you know, or women, you know, you can't even discount women. I mean, how many, now we have a couple more movies that are female led, you know, and you're like, oh, this right here is you know, a lead female character, and that's really cool. How many female-led movies that got the same budget and production and marketing are out there versus those that have male leads? You know what I mean? It's like, it's insane. And then they'll put something out like, you know, Wonder Woman that was directed by a woman, and it had a huge budget, but it had zero marketing. Right? Like, barely had any marketing. And it blew up. It was like, it was this fantastic movie. And they're like, oh, well, maybe we can have someone who's a woman be a lead. So, you know what I mean? It's like, let's see. Certainly, but it's learning about someone new. Yep, you start with what you see in your broad strokes. Yep, dark skin tones also do not follow the lighting rules as pale skins, right? I have so much I disagree with because a lot of this stuff, in my opinion, misses the point, but I get what you mean. You know, I mean, the idea is you can actually have different opinions. See if I was on call, I could say this without sounding weirdly angry. Hold on. I just don't know. Like, let me. Hold on. Hold on. We still got like 20 minutes. Hold on. Oh, wait. Crap. Nope. What am I doing wrong here? This one. Alright, can you hear me? Oh, wait, I'm not plugged in. Hold on. Alright. Are you there? I don't know if you're there, Mark. Wait. I don't have a set. Okay. Streamer mode is enabled. So I'm going to be very curious to see if it actually pops up. Because I haven't looked up streamer mode. So I have no idea if it's going to work. Wait, headset 2. Mark is typing. Let's move this out of the way. Oh, there you are. You are very muffled. Like I can it's like I can barely understand you. Yep, there you go. Now I can hear you. Really? Yep, I can hear you great there. Oh, need my eraser. No. What is that? What? Oh, there we go. All right. Here. This up. This to normal. This to here. This to a lot smaller. There we go. Alright, I do think for all case and purposes we are done with this. Let's see. If you wanted to screen share with while you stream, not like mainstream or anything. Oh, this was something from before. Maybe something we can try later. Last minute. Oh. Okay. Okay, I was just reading it. I'm sorry. Right. Well, okay, so so what was your issue with what I was saying? Because I want to know. We were talking about the cultural insensitivity, stereotypes, and what I was talking about was how in entertainment, you know, it's how I said. Well, no, it's just the lack of giving the opportunity to, minorities, women, and stuff like that. True. But see, I could completely agree with you to a point, right? Because it is extremely difficult to get into the industry of like movies and stuff like that. 100% completely agree with you. It is horrible. Until you do something like, hey, we're gonna get Donnie Yen to come over and be part of our movie, and then he gets a bit part, and gets killed off screen. And you're like, wait a minute, what? And then we get to see his movies over in, over in Asia, and it's like, holy crap, this guy's amazing. And then we're like, oh, he must not be able to speak English, right? That's why he doesn't have all these parts. And then he comes in and is like, holy crap, dude, you speak the Queen's English, right? And I'm right. No. Fair. Mm-hmm. Right. 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 No, I mean that's fair, and I think that a lot of people, when they get offended, it's because they're assuming, right? So they're assuming the fact that you didn't do anything, you just took something of theirs and was just like, oh, I'm gonna take this because I can, right? But once once they go and be like, hey man, this is, I don't care for this. This is offensive because you did this or that, and then they're like, oh, it is, and then you explain it like you did. He's like, you mean this that deals with this and does this, and they're like, oh, wait, you do know what's going on here. You do understand what, and then it kind of loses its oomph, I guess. Mm. Right. Right. Well, the thing is that when you're like you shouldn't be loud about it. The thing that I've realized is that especially if you now look at like the Black Lives Matter situation, and it's been going on forever, and then people are like, "Yo, no, we're done. All right, we're gonna have all these protests and stuff." But like you said, it just seems as though a lot of people are just angry and they're just gonna talk and yell and stuff like that, which is sad because the people who are being hurt by the situation are not allowed to actually say something, right? And they get vilified and stuff like that. But if you have someone else, so once you start seeing, like police officers, so for instance, with the Black Lives Matter movement that is really about police brutality at this moment, when you have people going, look, we're getting beat down by the police for no reason and we're doing all this, and it's like, yeah, whatever. But then you have a white cop come in and go, look, these are the problems that that's happening. They're right. We need to fix this. Then, because it's not the group that's offended by it, apparently people start listening more, which is odd, right? Like, you can't have, like, I have a friend, Peter Shinkota, who is in the entertainment industry, right? And he was telling me some things, and I'm not going to put his business out there like that, but he is very vocal about his stance in the industry that he's working in, right? He was a Nobu from Daredevil. And, so it's like, he's like, but I can't really say anything. Like, I can, but then it's just like, oh, you're just being angry, right? Like, stop it. You have it good, like you have this big part in this, so why are you complaining? And it's like, yeah, but you don't know how we're getting treated here, or something like that, so it's just like, you know what I mean? So, but, right. Oh, hold on, just a quick. Mandala, welcome and good morning. I have a question for you. Do you hear Mark? Do you hear MAA 703 in the stream? Well, we're trying out the Discord stream type thing, and so I'm just wondering if it's actually coming through or if I've done something wrong. So I just want to make sure that it's working. And as far as the tablet going, the pen, about 120 seconds ago. So Mark, can you say something? All right, did you hear that? Like, I gotta hear 120 seconds ago. Nope. Yeah, he can't hear you. Okay, so that's cool. All right, that's cool. Thank you. I'm gonna figure out how to actually get the people through. Yeah. For a second. Okay. Mark. Okay. No, yeah, I'm pretty sure that I messed that. I messed that up myself. So I'm gonna fix it though. But anyway, as you were saying, I'm gonna show the people the ninja that we finished. I was talking to myself like a crazy person. Okay. Yeah. To my craziness, my psychosis. Right. But yeah. Alright, so like I said, we're gonna fix this Discord thing. I do believe that I actually pushed it through so it comes through my headphones, and so it's not actually going out. But we'll fix it. I'll figure it out. But anyway, so just means that I gotta either be very diligent in like responding to what you're saying, Mark, or it's just gonna continue to look like I'm crazy. I just want you to know that I too love ninjas. Awesome. I need more people to love ninjas. Wait, Mark, are you still there? Okay. Yeah, it's like, I know. I love being some ninjas. But yeah, I'm gonna try and push and get. I want to get ninjas back on the forefront. I mean, I know I'm just one dude, but I'm gonna work really hard to get it done. Get it done. Right. 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 I feel that. I feel that. Right. Right. No, you're right. You're right. I do love. Right. HT. I'm gonna call you HT because your name, I'm sure, means something, and says something. But since I can't hear you tell me what it means, I'm like I'm lost. So I'm gonna say HT because that's where we're at right now. But I do, I do like what you said. What ain't cool about that? About ninjas? Like you want to make something cool, cooler. Add ninja version to it. Dinosaur ninja, racer ninja, robot ninja, ice ninja. That's true, but the thing is that so many people they don't use ninjas, right? It's always a side. They're always using it as a side situation. It's time to get those ninjas back, you know? Because what's funny, like G.I. Joe is getting a resurgent, right? It's like, oh man, G.I. Joe, yes. And then who's on the front line? Like who are the important people? Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. Right? They're the two ninjas of the show, and it's like, oh man, these guys are fantastic. It's like, yes, we should do more ninjas, right? And we don't, and I want more ninjas, and so And I don't want everyone's idea of a ninja to be Naruto. You know, because that's... Right. And the bad part is I actually, because it's the idea of Naruto, right? Because ninjas with powers and they're using their chi or chakra or whatever the case may be, you know, whatever the person is that's using or telling that story calls it. But it's like, I love that idea. Like, I love someone who can control, you know, like water or ice and stuff like that. And I think it's great because it actually adds to the mysticism of what ninjas and the culture of ninjutsu and stuff like that was back in the day, because they were so inventive to succeed with their mission. So you would find people literally walking across a moat. And so the rumor or the myth was that ninjas were able to walk across water. And that's true to an extent, right? Because they had mini boats. They made these shoes that were like mini boats. And they didn't walk. You know, it wasn't like Jesus and they walked across the water. They shimmied across the water. So they had these two boat, you know, like shoe boats. And they just, and they shimmied their way across the moat. Right? So having the idea of, oh, look, there are these ice ninjas, there was probably a way that they did that. All right? And that's what I really like about the fantasy ninja. Like, if you know anything about ninja culture, you can go back and be like, there was someone who said that they could shoot fireballs out of their hands and stuff like that. And then you realize it's like, oh, well, it was a magic trick, right? Or they were able to spark, there was an explanation to what they did, but because they were so cool at doing it, it's just like magicians, like illusionists and stuff like that. They were able to make these things happen, and then people would, you know, like freak out and be like, oh my goodness, this guy literally turned into a log, right? He backflipped, there was a puff of smoke, and then he turned into a log. How did that happen? And it's misdirection and all that kind of good stuff, you know? And I'm like, that's awesome. And that's why all of, you know, my characters are all going to have that kind of thing. And I'm trying to make it make sense, right? And there are things that are going to be played off as, it's magic, right? Like, my main character has a dragon inside of him, so I can't scientifically explain that out. You know, I just can't. But if I go, oh, well, this person can manipulate fire, right? I want it to start somewhere, like, oh, when they started, they were able to do this. Or there are these two elements that come together that allow you to do this. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be able to have it so that if you need to explain it, there's a starting point that made sense. So that's what I'm going for with all my specialty ninjas. And I'm like, and I like the idea of Naruto and all that. And they explained it through chi, or I forgot what they specifically, chakra. So, you know, they explained it through chakra. So you have that starting point where you're like, okay, I get it. And then they went every which way to you know, have fun with it. And that, I think, is what's important. Like, I want to be able to, yeah. Right. So, right. Right. It would be, well, anyway, I'm actually seeing it like, I need to, for my schedule's sake, I need to actually bounce off, because otherwise, you know, I'm getting into the time that I'm supposed to be getting my kids ready for school, which starts next week. So so I'm actually going to kind of stop here, because I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with this character. We'll figure that out later. But I'm gonna say thank you guys so very much. But I do have to step away. I'm sorry, HT. But these morning streams literally go from 5 to 6:30. They are my Rise and Grind streams. They're the crowd instantly turns because I gotta go. But I really need to, like I said, I need to keep the schedule going, because otherwise I will sit here and draw, and then my kids will be not necessarily floundering, but they're kids, and so if you tell them that they have to go do schoolwork, that ain't gonna happen naturally. So I'm gonna go ahead and say thank you guys so very much. I'm gonna run my 3-cent ad. So if you're interested in allowing me to get 4 cents from the ad people, please stick around in the Discord so that I can make that happen. But I will be back for sure tomorrow, 5 o'clock. You know, I'm gonna hit that that stream button. But I might stream again later tonight, which will then be a longer stream. All right. Thank you guys so very much for hanging out with me today. And remember, you didn't see an ad. No, I didn't run an ad yesterday. Because if there's one person, I'm like, I shouldn't run an ad and make them sit around. So if my counter says that there's only one person, I generally won't run an ad. But there are a couple people in there, so you know, this guarantees my 4 cents. But once again, thank you guys, and remember, born a ninja, die a ninja. I'll see you guys later.